Hi guys, today we're going to cover Math 110, Section 2.4. If you look under our notes, things to know, these are the ones that you probably have seen before. The y equal mx plus b, the slope-intercept form, and the point slope form, the y minus y1 equal m times x minus x1. Okay, these are the two forms of linear equation that you probably have seen before. I know the y equal mx plus b for sure, but the point slope, depending on your instructor, you may not see it as often. Okay, but we're going to use these two forms to help us find the equation of a perpendicular line and equation of a parallel line. We're going to use the information we learned about perpendicular line and the parallel line from the last section to help us actually find the equation for it. Alright, let's get started. So number 2, part A, use the slope-intercept form to write an equation of a line passing through the given point and having a given slope. So first thing first, let's go ahead and figure out what's going on. So we have y equal mx plus b, right? And if you remember from the notes or in the book, this right here is the slope, and this right here is the y-intercept. Okay, and remember, the y-intercept is always 0 something, right? 0 comma some number. So you can only use the value for b if the point is this format. Okay, so for example, in our question, the point that's given is -2, 4, right? So this is not b, right? Because the x value is not 0. Okay, so you can't just plug that in for b. That seems to be a very common mistake for students. They see a point, they just plug it in without thinking about whether it is okay or not. Okay, but in this case, we can actually plug in the slope first. So I'm going to plug in the slope, which is -3/2. Okay, so once we plug in the slope, all we have to do is find out what b is. Alright, but the thing is, if I want to figure out what b is, I need to know what's x and y. Now, where am I going to get x and y? We're going to get x and y from the point. Right? Because isn't point is x comma y? Right? So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use -2 and 4. We're going to plug -2 in for x. And then we're going to plug in 4 for y. And then from here, we're going to solve for b. Okay? So from here, 4 equal -3/2 times -2. That is a +3. Plus b. So b equal 1. And once we figure out what b is, in this case 1, plug it back in. So we know y equal -3/2 x plus 1. And now we are done. Okay? Alright, if they give you the slope, I'll plug the slope in right away. And then, depending on the point they gave us, I'm just going to plug in x and y to figure out what b is. Alright, next. You got the point 5, -1, and you know slope equals 0. So let's plug that in. You plug in everything. What we end up getting is 0x plus b. And then, once we figure it out, we can plug in our x and y. So you get -1 equals 0 times 5 plus b. And in this case, 0 times 5 is 0. So you get -1 equal to b. Plug back into the original equation here. Y equals 0x minus 1. Or simply y equal -1. And that's our equation right here. Equation for a horizontal line. All right, remember, slope equal to 0. That's the horizontal line. Okay? All right, the third problem. Slope is 4/5. The point is 1, 2. So I'm going to use the slope-intercept form, y equal mx plus b. And I'm going to plug in all relevant information. So y equal 4/5 x plus b. And I'm going to let x equal to 1 and y equal to 2. So 2 equal 4/5 times 1 plus b. So 2 equal 4/5 plus b. Minus 4/5 on both sides. You get 2 minus 4/5 equal to b. Common denominator, so this is 10 over 5 minus 4 over 5, which is 6 over 5. So our answer is going to be y equal 4/5 x plus 6 over 5. Okay. Yeah, slope-intercept form is definitely pretty straightforward to use. It's actually very simple if you have a point and slope. Okay, but unfortunately, sometimes that's not gonna happen. You might have to find your own slope, and that's what number 3 is. Find the slope in the y-intercept. Okay. Now, because we're looking for the slope in the y-intercept, so automatically I want to think about y equal mx plus b. Because the slope is m, and b is y-intercept. Okay? So all I have to do is solve for y. That is all I have to do. Okay? So if I have 2x plus 3y equal to 7, I need to solve for y. I am going to minus 2x on both sides. So if I do that, I get 3y equal negative 2x plus 7. And then to get the y by itself, everybody divided by 3. So I get y equal negative 2/3 x plus 7/3. So from here, since we have y equal mx plus b, so we know the slope is negative 2/3, and the b is 7/3. Y equal mx plus b. Super important. Alright, next problem. X equal 2y minus 5 over 2. If I were you, I multiply by 2 on both sides. If I multiply by 2 on both sides, I get 2x equal 2y minus 5. We're going to solve for y, so get y by itself. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. From here, I get 2x plus y equal 2x plus 5 equal 2y. So divide everybody by 2. So I get x plus 5 over 2 equal to y. So from here, this is pretty straightforward. The slope is 1, right? Number in front of x. And the y-intercept, right? Y-intercept is going to be 5 over 2. Okay, so this is not horrible, not too horrible. All right, number 4, we need to find the slope in the y-intercept. and then we're going to graph it. So let's go ahead and find the slope and the y-intercept first. And then I will pull out a graph paper so we can graph it around here. So 2x minus 3y equal to 6. I'm just going to turn this into y equal mx plus b. So I get minus 2x on both sides. I get negative 3y equal negative 2x plus 6. And from here, divide everything by negative 3. I get y equal 2/3 positive, and 6 over negative 3 is a minus 2. Okay? So we get y equal 2/3 x minus 2. So which means the slope is 2/3 and the y-intercept is negative 2. Alright, from here, once I know the slope and the y-intercept, I am going to, let me pull out a graphing paper so we can actually graph. Let's see if I can find it. There you go. Let me just kind of go back to see what we have. 2/3 and negative 2. So just write it down before I forget. Okay, so first thing first, my y-intercept is negative 2. So negative 2 is right here. Okay, now when it comes to slope, right? Slope, remember, a lot of times you remember that's your rise over run. Right? Rise over run. So this is telling me when I have a positive 2 on the rise, means I have to go up. My run is also positive, means I gotta go to the right. So what this is telling me is I'm going to use 0, negative 2 as a starting point, and then I'm gonna go up 2 and 3 to the right. And that's where my next point is going to be. Right, so up 2 and 3 to the right. Okay, and once I get that point, in this case the point is 3, 0, and all I have to do is connect the dot. Okay, just remember the y-intercept is your starting point. The slope tells you what to do next. That was horrible. Slope tells you what to do next. Rise over run. But the y-intercept is your starting point. Okay? Alright, part B, you have negative 4/5 x plus 1. This one is actually pretty straightforward. Right? You know from here you can tell y equal mx plus b. So slope is negative 4/5 and the y-intercept is 1. Okay? Now that negative sign, it's in front. So what you can do is you can either put it on top or put it on bottom. I don't care where you put that negative. It's just either need to be on the top or on the bottom. Okay? Alright, so here we go. I'm going to again pull out the graphing paper. Alright, again, the y-intercept is 1, so which means I have y-intercept as 0, 1. Okay. The slope is negative 4/5, so I'm going to put a negative on top. So this, when the rise is negative, it tells me that means I got to go down. my run is still positive, means I'm going to go to the right. So that means to get to the next point, I need to go down 4, 5 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my new point here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, negative 4. Okay. And once we got those 2 points, connect the dot. Okay. All right. So hopefully it'll give you some idea on how to graph linear equations. If you're given a slope and the y-intercept. Okay. All right. Next one. To find the equation of a line that passed through the given points. So notice the previous questions. Right, we are given slope and we're given a point. Right. In question set number 5, right, the 2 questions, you only know the points, but you don't have slope. So we don't know the slope, but we are given actually 2 points. Okay, so that means first thing you should be looking for is find slope. That should be the very first thing that you do is find slope. Okay, so slope formula. Slope equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what you end up getting is 4 minus negative 2, that's a 6. 3 minus a negative 1, that's a 4. So your slope is 3 over 2. Okay. And once we figure out the slope, it's your pick to choose either of the 2 points. You don't have to do both. You just need to do one. So I'm going to use negative 1, negative 2. Because smaller number. So here we go. Y equals 3 halves x plus b. Plugging all the values, you get negative 2 equal 3 halves times negative 1 plus b. So this is negative 2 equal negative 3 halves plus b. If you add 3 halves to both sides, you will notice, run out of space, b equals to negative 1 half. Right? Negative 2 plus 3 halves. That's the same as negative 4 over 2 plus 3 halves, and that's negative 1 half. So final answer. Y equal 3 half x minus 1 half. Okay, so that will be your final answer. Okay. Let me take a quick sip. Yes, it's water. Okay, it's water. It's not adult beverages. We're doing math. Even though a lot of times the joke is don't drink and derive for the calculus people. Alright, let's move on to the second question. Second question, you have 3, negative 2, comma, negative 2, negative 1. So again, find slope first. So slope equal negative 1 minus negative 2, right? y1, y2, or y2, y1, doesn't matter. y2, y1. That's more accurate. Over negative 2 minus 3. Alright, so negative 1 minus negative 2, negative 2 minus 3. So we end up getting negative 1 plus 2 over negative 2 minus 3, which is 1 over negative 5. Okay. Alright, so from here we got our slope. So put it back in. Y equal negative 1/5 x plus b. I don't care which point you choose. You just gotta pick one. Okay, so I am going to pick. I'm gonna pick this one because the numbers are smaller. So you get negative 1 equal negative 1/5 times negative 2 plus b. This is negative 1 equal positive. Negative times negative is positive. 2/5 plus b. Minus 2/5 on both sides. You get b equals negative 1 and 2/5. Right? Minus 1 minus 2/5. So together minus 1 and 2/5. So this is our answer. Negative 1/5 x minus 1 and 2/5. Okay? Find slope first. You gotta have slope. You don't have slope, that's bad. Alright. So really quick, just a reminder. Parallel lines have same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal. Okay. So if you look at part A is saying we need a line that is parallel to y equal to 2/5 x minus 6. Right? So if we know parallel means they have to have the same slope. So that means the slope in this case is which will be positive 2/5. Once you figure out the slope is positive 2/5, we're just going to use the second point, right? The point we're going to use is the 6, negative 1. Notice the question says, the line that goes through. Goes through means 6, negative 1 is a point on the line. So we can use it. And once you got the slope, you got the y-intercept. Again, that's y equal mx plus b. So you get y equal 2/5 x plus b. And then we can plug in the 6 and negative 1. You get negative 1 equal 2/5 times 6 plus b. So this is negative 1 equal 12/5 plus b. So b is going to be minus 12/5 on both sides. Minus 1 minus 12/5, which is the same as negative 5 over 5 minus 12/5, which is negative 17 over 5. Okay? So our answer is the line that is parallel to y equal 2/5 b minus 6 is going to be y equal negative 2, y equal not negative, but it's a positive 2/5 x minus 17 over 5. Okay? Alright. Perpendicular is opposite reciprocal. Let's keep that in mind. So this time we're looking for a line that is perpendicular to y equal negative 2 ninth x minus 1. So from here, let's figure out the slope first. The slope is negative 2 over 9. But in order for slope to be perpendicular, remember that's when we have to do the opposite reciprocal, which means you change sign and flip fraction. Okay, so that means if my original slope is negative 2 over 9, my perpendicular slope is going to be a positive 9 over 2. Opposite sign, flip the fraction. After you figure out the correct slope to use, the rest is pretty straightforward. We're going to do y equal 9 over 2 x plus b. Using the point 6 and negative 1, you get negative 1 equal 9 over 2 times 6 plus b. This is negative 1 equal 9 halves times 6 is 27. So 27 plus b. And to figure out what b is, we're going to minus 27 on both sides. So b is negative 28. So the final answer is y equal 9 over 2x minus 28. Okay. Alright, story problems. The number of classified documents has increased approximately linearly from 22.2 million. So in 2009, the document is 22.2 million. And in 2011, the document is 92 million. Okay. So in this case, we have time and we have money. Okay, so the question here is, which one is our quote-unquote X and which one is our quote-unquote Y? Okay, now there's one thing you want to think about. The X and Y, there's a couple of different names for them. The X is called the independent variable, and the Y is dependent. Okay, so the question you need to ask yourself is this: does year depends on number of documents, or number of documents depends on year? Right, we have two things to think about. Right, does year depending on the document, or does the document depend on year? Okay, I think most people will say, well, the document depends on what year it is. Right, because depending on which year you have, you might have more or less documents. So that means if document depends on year, that means the document is dependent variable and the year is independent. Right? If the document depends on the year, that means the document is a dependent variable. Okay, so which means in this case we need year and number of docs. Okay, so from here we can this is what we're going to use. our slope is going to be 92. Don't worry about the million part. We'll keep that million label in mind. Minus 22.2 over 2011 minus 2009. So calculator, it says 92 minus 22.2 is 69.8 millions over 2011 minus 2009, that's 2 years. So your slope is 69.8 over 2, or simply 34.9 million of DAX per 1 year. Okay. Now, so this right here is a slope. So we're going to go ahead and use this. Now, it looks like I need the second page. So we're going to use 34.9 as our slope. So let me see. So the documents equal 34.9 times year plus B. Okay. So we're going to use one of the points. So feel free. I'm going to use 2009, comma 22.2, and that's what I'm going to plug into my and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug that into my answer. So here we go. And actually, you know what? I did not read the direction. Notice what the directions say. The direction says let T be year since 2000. Okay, I did not read direction on that one. Now, is that going to affect our slope? Answer is no, right? Because if you use 11 minus 9, right, our slope will be 92 minus 22.2 over 11 minus 9. So you still get a 2 on the bottom. So slope is okay. But when we plug into the equation, we need to make sure that this is 9. So to figure out the finished equation, it has to be DOX equal 34.9 times, if I use the 2009 and 22 million in 2009, I'm going to plug in 9 here plus B, and the document will be 22.2. Okay, so year and docs. So 22.2 equal 34.9 times 9 plus B. 34.9 times 9 by calculator is 22.2 equal 314.1 plus B. To get a B by itself, we're going to have to minus 314.1 on both sides. So 22.2 minus 314.1 is negative 291.9 equal to B. So final answer, DOX equal 34.9 times years since 2000 and minus 291.9. Okay, so we have N equal 34.9 T minus 291.9. Okay, so yeah, So the first question for that is we gotta figure out what's dependent and independent, so you know what's your quote unquote x and y. Because most of the time they're not gonna use x and y in the story problem, right? In this case, they use the n and t, so we just gotta be extra careful. Okay, next question. The number of Little League participants has decreased approximately linearly from 2.6 million in 1997 to 2.1 million in 2011. Okay, and let n be the number in millions of Little League participants at T years since 1990. So which means I cannot use the 1997 or 2011. I'm gonna have to subtract those numbers. I have to take those numbers, subtract 1990. So which means I have 7 here, 2.6 mil. And this is gonna be 21, and this is gonna be 2.1 mil. Okay, 2011 minus 1990, that is 21. So our slope is going to be 2.6 minus 2.1 over 7 minus 21. So this is 0.5 over 14 negative. 0.5 divided by 14 is some crazy decimal, but we can put that into a fraction. This is the same as negative 1 over 28. So my slope is negative 1 over 28. So now we got two different data that we can choose from. I'm just going to choose the first one because it's smaller numbers. So I get, let me see, number of participant equal negative 1 over 28 times t, which is the time, and plus b. I have no idea what b is. Plug everything in. I'm going to say this is 2.6 equal negative 1 over 28 times 7 plus b. Negative 1 over 28 times 7, that's a quarter. So 2.6 equal negative 1 quarter plus b, which is the same as 2.6 equal negative 0.25 plus b. Add 0.25 on both sides, you get 2.85 equal b. So n equals negative 1 over 28 t and plus 2.85, and that will be our answer. Okay, so this is not too horrible. Most of the stuff you have seen before as well. Linear, in general, it should be a pretty easy section. Okay, but if you have any troubles, again, post on the forum, Blackboard, shoot me an email, whsieh@grcc.edu, or we can play phone tag, 616-234-4729. Okay, have a good night. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.